Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my 2019 college football prediction for Clemson. This is the start of my college football predictions, and the first team we're doing is going to be the defending national champs, the Clemson Tigers. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. We are going to be doing many teams with college football predictions. We're also going to be doing NFL predictions, NBA free agency, and once the season rolls around, a lot of analysts from myself, McD the Beast. So please subscribe to the channel. So let's get into the Clemson football predictions. I have my notes right here, my handy dandy notes. And first I'm going to talk about the pros for Clemson. There are a lot of pros, but I narrowed it down to a few things. The number one pro is Trevor Lawrence. He is, to me, the best quarterback in the country. Trevor Lawrence. He's going to probably just ball on a lot of these teams this year. Star wideouts. Clemson has one of the best wide receiving groups in the whole entire country. That's going to be another pro for Clemson. Travis Etienne, the running back for Clemson. Big time running back. Clemson's going to have, basically Clemson's offense is one big pro for them. I mean, Travis Etienne, he's going to be very good for Clemson. He's going to probably easily rush for, I'm thinking easily 1,500, maybe even 16, 17. Maybe he'll get up to 1,800. And I think the coaching, Dabo Swinney, the head coach, I think he's one of the best head coaches in the country. Definitely one of the best culture people in the country, building cultures. And then Brett Vanderbilt, probably the best coordinator between him and the defensive coordinator down at LSU. Probably the top two defensive coordinators there. And Clemson has one of them, and Brett Vanderbilt. The cons, there is one con I did come up with, and that is the front seven. They're losing a lot in the front seven. They're also losing 8 out of the top tacklers. Clemson's losing 8 out of the top 12 tacklers. But I think that they're going to be replaced. I think Clemson will be fine in that department. They might get exposed maybe a little bit in the early in the season. My best case and worst case scenario for Clemson. I think best case scenario for Clemson is 12-0. Worst case scenario for Clemson is 10-2 with a 7-1 conference record. Let's look at the schedule now for the Clemson Tigers. You see here, every team they get 2 bye weeks this year is because of scheduling. Clemson, their out of conference schedule includes Texas A&M and Death Valley, Charlotte, Warford, and then that annual in-state rivalry game against South Carolina on the road. As I just said, best case scenario 12-0, worst case scenario 10-2 with a 7-1 conference record. I'm going to give you the 3 toughest games and the 3 easiest games for Clemson. Starting with the 3 toughest games, I think the 3 toughest games in no particular order are Texas A&M, Syracuse, and South Carolina. To me, those are the 3 toughest games that Clemson will have this year. The 3 easiest games for Clemson, I think, will be Warford, Charlotte, and Georgia Tech, I believe. Those will be your 3 easiest games for Florida, and not for Florida, for Clemson this year. So basically, let's look at the schedule. 12 games, standard 12 games. The ACC, they play 8 games in the conference, so 4 out conference games. I already went over that. And I'm basically going to tell you who I have in the game, why I have them in the game, and basically give you a score. I'm predicting scores as well. So something unique that I'm doing. And we're going to start off with the Week 1 game against Georgia Tech. The only special thing about this game is that it's going to be the first ever game on the ACC network. The ACC network is going to be coming out I think August 1st is the launch date, and their first televised broadcast of football is going to be Georgia Tech versus Clemson. Clemson, listen, they're much better than Georgia Tech in my opinion. I think Georgia Tech, they're changing the whole system. I think it's going to be a rough few years at Georgia Tech. I expect Clemson to win this game pretty easily. I'm going 45-14 Clemson in that one. Second game, Texas A&M. This is going to be maybe a tough game. Texas A&M, they're really getting hyped up this year. We'll see what happens, but this is how I expect this game to go. Kellen Mond's great. I don't know if the talent around Kellen Mond is going to be good enough. I think that probably will be the difference in the game. I think Clemson probably jumps out, probably to like a field up like 6-3. Then it'll be like 23-6 at one point. But Texas A&M, they'll score some touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and I expect Clemson to win this one. I think Clemson will beat Texas A&M like they did last year, but I think they'll beat them 29-20. So give me Clemson in that one by 9 points. At Syracuse, people are labeling this game as the game that Clemson's going to lose. Syracuse, definitely a team that surprised a lot of people last year, including myself. It is in the Carrier Dome, and also Syracuse the past 2 years they've played Clemson well. Now, granted, both times Clemson and Syracuse went up against each other, Clemson's quarterback was injured, whether it was Trevor Lawrence last year or Kelly Bryant the year before. I think this game's on ABC at night. It's going to be a fun game. But overall, Clemson's the better team, and I expect Clemson to beat Syracuse. And I think the score will be 38-28 Clemson. And the reason why I have Clemson winning is because Syracuse, they're going to have a new quarterback, and the defense is not that good for Syracuse. And also, basically there's two things. New quarterback, not so good of a defense. The following week after playing Syracuse, they get Charlotte at home. This is a very easy win. Not much to talk about here. Just the talent alone is better than Charlotte. And I expect Clemson to steamroll over Charlotte and win this one 48-7. Next game at North Carolina. Listen, North Carolina, they're getting a lot of hype this year because they brought back Mac Brown and they actually recruited okay this year. Personally, I don't think Mac Brown is going to do much at North Carolina. I don't think he'll take North Carolina to a New Year's Six Bowl. I think he's going to be someone that kind of just sets the culture and then hands it off to somebody. I think Mac Brown is kind of going to be somebody at North Carolina that's just going to be consistently winning 7 to 8 games, because I think he's only going to be there no more than like 5 or 6 years because of his age. But anyways, North Carolina, they might score an early touchdown in this game, but that's just about it. I expect Clemson to absolutely go in there and smack North Carolina. I have it 44-14 Clemson in that one. And then Clemson, they get their first bye after going on the road against North Carolina. And then they're coming off the bye against Florida State at home. Florida State, a team that I think could win some games by default, but they are really a lot of question marks overall with Florida State, in my opinion. I think this could be I think it could be similar to last year. Last year when these two teams faced off, it was 59-10 Clemson and Tallahassee. I think it'll be a little bit closer, but give me Clemson to win this one 49-17. I expect Clemson to get out early 21-0 and not look back. I don't think Florida State is going to be that good of a football team this year. Next game, they get a road trip to Louisville. I expect them to absolutely demolish Louisville. Clemson's talent compared to Louisville's is laughable, and Clemson will win this one 56-16 against Louisville on the road. Next game, Boston College. This is the homecoming game for Boston College. and not for Boston College, for Clemson. This is the homecoming game. Boston College, a team last year. This game was the ESPN night game, and this was also College Game Day visit. Boston College last year during this game. Boston College, I'm going to be honest with you, they could be undefeated going into this game. Their schedule is really easy. This is going to be Boston College's real first test. I don't think it will go well for Boston College. I expect Clemson. I think Clemson, they might struggle some offensively in this one because Boston College, they're still going to have a decent defense. But I expect Clemson to win this one 33-7 over Boston College. Boston College doesn't really have much of an offense. And then Warford, the easiest game in my opinion for Clemson. I have them winning that 63-3. At NC State is the next one. Last time Clemson went to NC State, it was 24-17, I think, the final in Clemson's favor. I mean, it could be something similar like that. To me, NC State is a team that I don't think is anywhere close to Clemson. But those fans, those NC State fans, think they're gonna have a shot against them because last time they got them at home, it was 24-17. Last year, when it was in Death Valley, it was 41-10, I believe, in Clemson's favor. And I expect Clemson to go into Raleigh and go ahead and beat NC State. I have a 34-14 Clemson. I think NC State probably stays in it for a half, and then Clemson just pulls away and just rolls NC State in the second half. Wake Forest at home. Certain people, they'll remain nameless. They are really hyping Wake Forest. I don't think Wake Forest has a shot in this game. I do think the offense will be very good though, and he might score a few touchdowns against his Clemson defense. That I think. And as I said earlier, one of the cons, I think Clemson's defense, I think the depth on Clemson's defense might get exposed a little bit. And a game like against Wake Forest, against a really good offense, it might get exposed some. But here's the problem. Wake Forest, they have no defense. And that's going to be the difference in this one, the Wake Forest defense. I expect Clemson to win this one. Very easy, 55-28. Wake Forest might be in it for a quarter and a half, but that's just about it in my opinion. Then Clemson, they get their second bye. And then the final game on the road against South Carolina. People have been picking the upset here. South Carolina fans would go ahead and tell you that they have a shot in this one because last year they went up to Death Valley, and I think it was 28-21 Clemson at halftime. I mean, they put up 35 points on Clemson, and they'll go ahead and tell you how the offense is going to put points up on that defense again. I think after the Wake Forest game and then the bye, I think Clemson's going to be on lockdown mode. I think Clemson's not going to have one of those games that might be interesting in the third quarter against South Carolina. I expect Clemson to win this game very easy. I have a 48-21 Clemson. I think South Carolina might not even be in this game for a quarter. I think Clemson might just steamroll South Carolina Gamecocks. So, my final prediction for the Clemson Tigers is 12-0 with an 8-0 conference record. I think the schedule is very doable to be 12-0. I do think the at Syracuse game could be kind of tough, and the Texas A&M game. I think those two games, if Clemson loses a game, I think it'll be one of those two. I don't think it'll be the South Carolina game. But overall, I do think that Clemson will be 12-0. I just can't predict them to have a loss. And I rarely do this. Usually I go ahead and just pick one team to go 12-0, one team to go 0-12. But this year, Clemson's my 12-0 team. And basically, that's my prediction. Clemson, 12-0. So comment down below. Tell me if you agree or disagree with my prediction here. I'm going to be paying the links not the links, but going to be paying down the links on where you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. So go check that out. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated if you do that. Thanks for watching, and this is McD the Beast signing off.